Hi everyone, welcome to Life Tips by Ning. In today's video, I'm sharing explanations for the 63rd hexagram in I-Ching called after completion. The reason it's called after completion, it has this image of somebody's crossing the river, which is a very risky and hard thing to do, but you already did it. It's in a completion phase. Something has reached this harmonious, perfect balance. It's actually ideal situation. Based on the image of the hexagram, the external one is water and the internal triagram is fire. Water over fire. Water's basic characteristics is to kind of going downwards, going with the trend and going downhill. It's the chi and energy is going down. And fire's energy is going up. The heat goes up. So it has a natural interaction and connection. So it's meaning that water and fires supplementing each other and help each other out to reach this ideal balancing stage. Recalling back to the Bazi series, water typically suppresses fire, right? So it has this enemy relationship, but also they can supplement and support each other. This is why, like, when we figure out the favorable element in reading Bazi chart, typically if you're born in the winter time, which is so heavy with water's coldness, dampness, typically the preferred element for the chart will be fire, especially young fire, because that represents the sun. It gives the warmth, sunshine. Whereas in the hot summer days, if you're born in the summertime, most of the case, the preferable element will be water because it cools the heat down. So that's kind of a quick example to understand the 5 elements from both Bazi and I-Ching's perspective, because all of this type of traditional studies are interconnected. But on top of this water and fire balancing relationship, which created this completed ideal phase, each line is in a perfect state too, because yang line is in the yang position in the odd number, whereas yin lines are in the even position, which is really fitted naturally. And on top of it, look at the corresponding relationship. First and third are naturally a pair, second and fifth are a pair, and the third and the top line are a pair. And in this case, it's yin and yang natural pairing rather than the same sex repel each other. So in terms of positional arrangement, each line is in its right place. That also is a contributing factor for this perfection or completion phase. But the wisdom and the teaching of this hexagram is actually talking about when you're in this supreme stage, the only way to go is to go down. There's nowhere up to go. So in this stage, rather than being complacent or super proud of your past achievement, the wise thing to do is to foresee the decline, the downturn in the future, and how to be very cautious and remind yourself constantly of the future danger to prevent it from happening. This is also reflected in the line placement, because typically when we did the introductory course, we said the relationship between yin and yang line, typically you like the yang line over yin line, so the yin line can support this yang line to take initiatives. But in this case, if you look at the placement, the yin is above the yang, meaning that it's suppressing it. That's kind of the only flaw in this line placement. So what does that really mean? It's actually a key reminder that when you reach this supreme success, be careful of who you entrust to help you sustain this success. If you choose the wrong people, the wrong partner, they will bring your achievement into ruins in no time, because this is the misplacement here. So this whole after completion hexagram is actually teaching you be very cautious and prevent the worst from happening, how to preserve your hardly achieved successes. So in terms of individual lines, this first line is saying when you're crossing the river initially, this is such a hard undertaking. Maybe a little fox is trying to cross and its fluffy tail is soaked in water, meaning that this thing has a lot of challenges and hardship in the process. But or maybe a horse carrying a carriage going through the water, right? The horse tail got immersed into water. It has to try, it has actual resistance. So you have to even try harder to pull the wheel getting stuck in the mud in the riverbed to pull it out. It's saying that you have to break through the encirclement, the challenges with extra grace and perseverance. As long as you can do that, you'll be able to achieve a neutral outcome. You will get to the destination. But don't give up because the process is very hard. The second line is saying that when you're crossing the river, you might lose some irrelevant decorations on your carriage or something that's not essential in your belongings. Don't worry about it. Don't lose the big forest over little tree, right? Keep on focus on your course and keep on charging forward. Whatever is lost, when you succeed, that will come back to you. It doesn't matter. So prioritize the big picture. Don't focus on the things you lose or give up along the way. They don't matter and they will naturally come back to you when you are able to achieve the grand success. The third line, this is using a historic, a true history event of when the Shang dynasty, the king was trying to conquer a neighboring small country. So that's not an easy undertaking, even though at the end they win the war, they achieved what they wanted, but it took them 3 years and a lot of resources to support the war. So it's saying that this event requires a lot of endurance. In the end, you will be exhausted. You'll be exhausted of your own energy, your financial resources, your human resources, whatever is needed. But in the end, you can get there. And it's also saying that warning. First, congrats, you reach your goal, but please be warned that even though it's harder to achieve, it's actually very easy to lose because of complacency. So be careful with who you entrust your success with. Be careful with the partner or the team you surround yourself with. If you pick the wrong people, they will bring your hard-earned success into ruins in no time. The fourth line, this is saying that finally you transition in from the internal to the external trigram. You reach the destination. But you need to stay constantly alert versus being spoiled with joy or starting to kind of enjoy yourself. No, you need to be constantly alert, like realizing that, for example, you're wearing a very pristine stage of beautiful clothes, but that thing will not last long. Eventually, it will decay into old cloth and into shredded pieces, right? So when you're in this supreme stage, understand your hidden vulnerability in the future, knowing that there's a relationship between the heaven and the man. Heavenly speaking, I understand this is the law of the universe. This is how things should evolve. Nobody can stay at this prime stage forever. That's against the rule. Just like in Chinese history, like all the prime dynasties, they lasted several hundred years. Eventually, they get replaced by somebody else. So that is the rule of the universe. I can see the decline, but what you can do as a human level is to be as prepared as possible, be able to minimize the downturn impact as much as you can, even though you cannot overly prevent it from happening. So that's the teaching of the fourth line. It's saying constantly alert for hidden vulnerability so you can maintain this completion stage a little longer and minimize the future risk better. And the fifth line, this is saying that, by the way, the writer and author of this whole I-Ching book is called Zhou Wenwang. He's a kind of a local lord in the Shang dynasty, but there's an overall king in the Shang dynasty. So this fifth line is saying that the king in the Shang dynasty is already missing the point. It's reached its prime stage as a country, as a kingdom, but the guy in charge doesn't understand this be cautious, stay against complacency warning. Is spoiling in its own, like wasting energy, wasting resources, because he has all this previous earnings accumulated, right? Rather than keep on maintaining it, he's overusing it, he's wasting it. Because of that, even though his worship event might seem so showy, so impressive, with like a lot of maybe animals to worship, it looks grandeur and impressive, but deep down he lost his sincerity and initial heart, and that won't give you any positive result. But in contrast, this author of named Zhou, he's the lord of a local subsidiary, right? But his little country is starting to blossom, is going into this perfection stage, even though he doesn't have a lot of material to show off at his worshiping event. Maybe he's only worshiping with smaller animals or fewer things, but deep down in his heart, he understands the point of being essential. Don't be wasteful and show your sincerity. Because of that, that will incur grand success and great fortune. So it's saying that focus on your substance and what you need to preserve versus rely and being indulged in your own success. Last but not least, the top line. This is an ending stage, meaning that unavoidably this will happen. This is starting to decline. So staying too complacent will eventually bring yourself to deep ruin and start that next stage of the last hexagram in I-Ching, of the 64th one. So it's just a natural evolvement of things, and it's reminding us during the process, how can you prevent the damage of the ending a little better? How can you stay at this more prime stage of completion a little longer after this hardship of initial groundwork? So that's the teaching of the 63rd hexagram. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye.